Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to talk about what I think are like 5 pistols you should look at besides Glock, because Glock just seems to be a default pistol for many that don't know any better or don't have a chance to try something else. So anytime you do a video like this, people get mad. It's like when you tell an HK VP9 owner that the VP9 is not the greatest pistol ever designed and in use in the history of the world, or when you tell a 1911 truist that it really didn't win 2 world wars. I'm not saying I don't love both of those pistols. I'm not saying I don't love some on this list and many others that are not on this list. I just want you to keep an open mind, especially if you are new to the Second Amendment or new to being a pistol owner, so you can think about things that maybe you haven't been exposed to yet, because you might just find something that works better for you. And I know somebody's already having an aneurysm down in the comments, but we're gonna talk about these one by one, go over kind of the good aspects of it, and then maybe talk about one thing to pay attention to, whether it's parts or magazine availability or any issues that have come up, something like that, just to give you an idea of other things to look at. And even though I do have a favorite on this list, it's in no particular order. We're just gonna go through them, like I said, one by one. Before we get started, I wanna give a huge thank you to True Shot Gun Club. They've supplied, I think, almost all the ammo for most of the range footage you're gonna see over the past like year-ish or something like that. So huge thanks to them, and of course to my Patreons. Massive support structure there. In fact, you've bought at least one of the pistols that are gonna be on this list through the support of the Patreons. So if you wanna support me, you can check that out or do super thanks down below or something, but those are the main ways to support the channel. We will go ahead and get started here with what I think is the cheapest one on the list today, and that is gonna be the Arex Delta Gen 2. So I saw these in the store, I didn't know anything about them, and I ended up walking out with the M, which is the compact, and the L, which is the full-size version, because they felt really good in the store and they had a pretty good trigger, which I figured was gonna get better after some rounds got through it. But overall, I really like the package they have to offer. The Delta Gen 2 has just a great overall feel. You get those interchangeable back straps, so if you want something a little bigger, you can accomplish that. They have that great sandpaper texture all around the grip. They have a good trigger guard undercut up here. They're fully ambidextrous, so my lefties or my wrong-handed people out there, you can enjoy them as well. They've got those accelerator or reference marks and ledges up in the front right there to help you control the recoil on them. Good serrations on them. They come in optics ready or regular. And overall, the pistol just recoils well. It's quite a bit lighter. It's a little bit thinner than a lot of things, so it's really easy to EDC and carry around with you all day. And one of the coolest attributes of the Arex Delta Gen 2, it's a chassis system. So much like the Sig, except you don't have a takedown lever and then the fire control unit comes out. You have a couple of pins here. The whole fire control unit comes out. It is 2 pieces basically, and you can throw it in a completely different frame. So you can go from a compact to the X to the full size, all using the same fire control system that's in there with just removing a couple of pins. So for the modularity and the range experience, it gets a huge plus. I have yet to have any issues with these. I've got a few thousand rounds between this one and the M at this point, and I really like them out on the range. They do feel a little bit different because they are quite thinner and lighter than some other things out there. But overall, I think a pretty outstanding value for being a fully ambidextrous, optics-ready pistol with the options that they come with. One thing to keep an eye on is they can be a little bit tough to find in stores sometimes or to get parts for because they are imported from Slovenia. But I've noticed a pretty decent amount of stuff in stock. You can find different things online for them as far as extended controls and all that, but definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. And for the price point, depending on the time of year and politically what's going on, I bought mine for around the $450 mark, and I've still seen them out there for that price point today, which honestly, for what you get, I think is really solid. And next up is gonna be the CZ P10 series. So I've had the chance to test not only this F, which I lovingly refer to as the big monster or the big hammer out there because it's like Glock 34 big. I mean, look at the size of that grip. I've got 2 XL sized hands, and you can see how much that thing is when it comes to the grip size. Awesome. I have the P10C, I have the P10F, I had the P10S as a loaner from a buddy for testing. All of them have been great. The P10s flat out perform on the range, and they give you a lot with this package here. So you get great texture around here. It's pretty aggressive, interchangeable back straps. Your magazine release here can be changed over to the opposite side for you lefties, and you do have ambi slide stop slide release there. The CZs have one of the best striker fired triggers in the game, and there's plenty of aftermarket support for them. You've got more texture up in the front for that reference area for your thumb, whether you're left or right-handed. Plenty of rail space, front serrations and rear serrations on here. It does come with factory night sights on the optics ready version, but they don't work when you put an optic on there, so definitely something they could think about there. The ergonomics of the P10 series are great. You can run these things super fast and super flat out on the range. They've got a bunch of different models, everything from optics ready, non-optics ready, suppressor ready versions, several different colors, and all of them are generally equipped pretty well. So this version is the second generation. The original iteration had ambi mag release in there. Those are still out there and being made. I see them in the store from time to time. But that second version that I think is only made in Kansas right now is this one you're looking at right here. Now the price point on these, I've seen them for around $500 all the way up to $650 for this specific version I have here, which was optics ready with the night sights on it. So depending on where you're at, again, time of year, you might find a little bit more or a little bit less. Just really depends on what the market's doing at the time. But on the range, it does everything you want it to do. It feels good while doing it, and it chews through every type of ammo that I've put through it, from reloads to basic ball ammo, through all that good high pressure stuff for self-defense. And next up, we're gonna have the Sig RX X series here. So there are some caveats to this one. So I am sure if you've watched my channel before, or if you haven't, you're now gonna hear it. I've often been quoted as saying Sig makes a great $500 gun for 800 bucks. So Sig is known for being a little bit more on the pricey spectrum. And for me personally, it has to be the X series. I'm not a fan of the regular grip module, nor am I a fan of the 226s, the 229s, or the 220. I've owned them all, I've tried them, and it really just wasn't my thing. I'm not saying it's not yours, but the X series is what bit me because of the whole package. The biggest thing for me here on the Sig RX X series of pistols is it's almost like it hides my deficiency and just makes things easier on the range. Running it fast, running it quick, doing exchanges, magazine drills, everything. The way it's set up just seems to work with me. You get that fire control unit. You can change this thing from a compact to a full size to a carry version with just the turn of your takedown lever. That's absolutely outstanding. You've got tons of custom options through Sig, tons of aftermarket custom options. You can get the factory mag well, you can get thicker grip sizes. You've got a pretty good sandpaper texture, reversible magazine release, ambi slide stop slide release, so my wrong-handed people are happy again. You've got good slide serrations up here front and the back. You've got that good beaver tail. The rail you want, this RXP X series here, comes with the tall, I can't remember what they call them, but those bright green front sights, blacked out rear, but they're night sights. Just a great overall package that hands down performs for me time and time again on the range, whether it is the X carry version here or whether it is that full size. And even though they're a higher bore axis, right, you can run these things extremely fast. Once you get used to the way that they feel, you can just run the crap out of them. And again, like I said, the aftermarket loves Sig, everything from barrels to slides to triggers, all that stuff. You can now get metal grips from Sig, from Icarus, Mischief Machine, all kinds of stuff. And at one point, you could actually get the polymer grips from Sig in white, and you could actually dye them a color you wanted. Kind of like my Tactinana project here that went really wrong. I need to do a video on this thing because it was supposed to be orange. Now the price on Sig, surprise, surprise, gets a little bit wonky here because some of them have been restricted to government and law enforcement only at this point, like the RXP X carry version, which is stupid. If it's good for the government and law enforcement, it should be good for us common people out there. But it's tough to find the RXP X series without the Sig branded optics, which are definitely not my first choice. So you're gonna find them roughly around $825, and then if you want the shroud on it, it's like another 50 or 75 bucks or something. So the pricing's a little bit wonky. It's kind of all over the place, and then you can actually build your whole one yourself if you go to the Sig custom shop and order the parts and ship it to your FFL, that kind of thing. But again, it's that, you know, they make a great $500 gun for 800 bucks because they want to put their own optic on it for you to force you into buying it. Remember when I told you I had a favorite that was going to be in this top 5 group? Well, surprise, surprise, it is the Walther PDP. So this one specifically is the full-size 4-inch. I get asked that all the time, but I've never been a huge fan of Walthers. I've had them, but just never really held on to them or kept them. They just didn't turn me on, I guess you could say. I went to the store. I was going to buy this one, and thank you patrons, you purchased this for the channel here. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really have high hopes. I didn't have low expectations. I was just kind of like, we'll see how this goes. I took this thing out to the range, and in the first set of drills I ran, which I think was a bill drill and a bare standards drill, 100% shocked, and I was absolutely sold right then and there. I can't put my finger on a single thing that makes the PDP so good for me. I think it's just the whole package here. So I can run the crap out of this thing, and I love it. It's my favorite pistol, like I said. But what do we get with this? So we get outstanding grip texture all the way around this thing, interchangeable back straps, a really, really nice magazine release on here. It's surprising how much that mag release just helps me out. I don't even have to break my grip on this thing to activate it. It's so good. The ergonomics of this thing are absolutely fantastic. Really wide in the back right there, so you can get your hand, the web of your palm way up in there, control that recoil. Ambidextrous slide stop, slide release, massive serrations on here so you can work that slide. I mean, take a look at those things. Those are the super terrain serrations, I think is what they're called. Just great. The Walther Dynamic Performance trigger is hands down amazing. It's probably the best factory striker fired trigger that I have ever fired. Now, the factory trigger that came in this, because that is a factory trigger, but it's only offered in the Pro version right now, is still really good. That one in itself is probably one of the best striker fired triggers out there, but the flat-faced Dynamic Performance one takes it to a whole different level. On the range, this thing is an absolute beast. One of the fastest, flattest shooting pistols I own. Feels good while you're on the range with it, and it is the one I go for first when I want to enjoy my range day, have fun, get some training in, and just like the experience. As far as the pistol itself goes, I don't have any problems with anything they have done to it. The one issue you might run into, they're hard to get right now. Parts are hard to get, magazines are hard to find, and they can't seem to keep things in stock. So that does kind of suck. I'm personally still waiting to try and find an F-Series and that PDP SD Pro version, because I am definitely going to buy that, because the version that you're looking at here today, obviously minus the magwell and the optic, you're going to find it for about $650. Sometimes you can find it for a little bit less, but the PDP Pro SD version, which is going to give you the magazine, the magwell, the extended magazines, and that dynamic performance trigger, the taller Walther sights, those are the Walther sights that you will get on the Pro, and the threaded barrel is like $789. That is an outstanding value for what you're going to get in that package if you can actually find it in a store. So the holdback there is they're having trouble keeping supply. And now for the M&P 2.0 core. And I know somebody's gonna be like, well, why'd you keep that till last? Again, not in any specific order. So I really like what Smith has done with the M&P 2.0 series. Hands down, they have the best grip texture in the business. I don't know anybody else with a factory pistol that just has got it right in the way that they did. Great ergonomics on it. You got rear serrations, front serrations. That new flat face trigger they have in some of the 2.0s is outstanding. If you get the core competition version like this, it's got the taller sights on it that you can use with your optics, so that is outstanding. The factory even curve trigger in there that's kind of hinged. It isn't the best tactile on your finger wise, but the break and reset is very good. You'll get an ambidextrous slide stop slide release, a reversible mag release, and tons of aftermarket support for the M&P, everything from triggers to controls, all kinds of stuff out there in the market for these things. Barrels, whatever you want, slide work, there's probably somebody doing it. These things are well proven at this point. They chew through all the ammunition that I have ever tried in them. Again, everything from reloads, high pressure ammo, basic ball ammo, stuff that you bought from Bubba down by the river. Don't buy Bubba's ammo, by the way. It just runs it all, and it feels good while doing it. The one thing that gets me about the M&P is the trigger guard slopes back a little bit fast and terminates a little early, so I do have a tendency to slip my front finger of my support hand over, but unless you have 2X-sized hands that swallow a full-size pistol like that, probably not gonna be something you're gonna be worried about. When it comes to the 2.0, the core series like this, I wanna say they're about $650. The non-optics version is right around $6. So you're getting a really good value in that. You're getting the lifetime warranty from them. Then if you want to go full custom, The Performance Center actually has a lot of really cool options, everything from different barrels to porting to different triggers, sights, just a lot of really great in-house warranted manufacturer things you can look into. All right, what would a top 5 be without like an honorable mention here? And I'm only gonna bring up one, and it's going to be the Canik TP9 series. So if you've not had the option or ability to shoot a Canik like the TP9 SFX or the Meta or the Rival, even the Elite SC, I've had a chance to fire all of those and several more different versions and variations of those at different events I've been to or that friends have owned. They have really got an aggressively priced package going on. They feel good, they run good. They're just awesome, coming in like some of them like 450 bucks. The trigger in most of them are amazing, but that's because that was a design stolen from Walther. So that's why the Canik trigger feels so good. Trouble with some of the Caniks is they're imported from Turkey, so it can be tough to find parts. It can be tough to get them brand new because they're not always in stock. The coatings on them seem to wear prematurely as compared to their rivals in the market. They don't have the best texture on them or grip texture on them, and then some of the optics plates, they use helicoils instead of just straight threading. So take it or leave it, but for 450 bucks, I think my buddies has got about 10,000 rounds through it, and we just finally broke one of the plates on it. And it's a monster. They run great, they run fast, they feel good while doing it. It can just be tough on some of the parts, and especially magazines, even though some other magazines will work in them. Just another thing to think about. And I don't actually have one. I just have some range footage because I've never actually bought one. They've all been loaners. Well, good, bad, or indifferent, that is 5 things I think you should take a good look at other than Glock. Let me know down in the comments what yours would be. And again, huge thank you to True Shot Gun Club for supplying a ton of the ammo for most of that range footage for this video today. And of course, to my Patreons, which made this Walther PDP possible. And to everyone that's done a super thanks down in the comments. That's like YouTube's version of Patreon, I guess. So if you want to support me, you can go to the Patreon, you can give a super thanks, or you can use any of the links below or check out the links at tacticalconsiderations.com. All of that keeps the lights on around here and keeps the reviews flowing. Make sure you get subbed up down below, and remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you all on the next one.